Hello, my name is Bernice, and I'm going to be discussing the analysis of gaps and shortcomings. So I wanted to just preface this conversation or this subject by just stating that there is a big disparity in the cannabis industry currently. As it stands now, less than 20% of state legal cannabis business owners are minorities, which include people of color and women in the workforce. So like in many other aspects of business, the cannabis industry should be striving to create a competitive field inclusive of different minority groups. So we should be striving to create a more diverse um, workforce within this industry because it definitely has a direct effect on legislation and different policies that affect the cannabis community. So the more inclusive we are and the more efforts we try to implement to diversify, the better representation there will be when it comes to policy advocacy. The state legal cannabis industry does hold a very prominent economic impact as it does generate high tax revenues. And so by implementing or trying to include more diversity within the cannabis workforce, that will have a direct impact in how taxpayer money is distributed back into our communities. So there's definitely a big importance in that. Also, the number of minorities in the cannabis industry has an effect on national representation and policy and its advocacy. So by trying to implement or diversify the workforce a bit more, we will be seeing that there are going to be, I guess, changes or shifts in legislation because we will have more representation at those tables or at those different events. And cannabis consumption has had a negative connotation in relation to minority groups. So we have seen this in the past that in the media, sometimes minority groups are representative and are represented in a negative connotation as it relates to cannabis consumption. So I guess breaking that stigma would be extremely important, and by enforcing new policies within our agency, we can gravitate or move away from those negative connotations and bring them into a more positive light. And I guess I just wanted to finish off by saying that there does need to be more advocacy on behalf of elected officials to address this imbalance in representation. So by implementing the various policies my colleagues or the various strategies my colleagues have presented earlier and will continue to present after me, it's important because this way we're able to address and narrow down that gap in terms of the stigma and addressing or being more inclusive of representation within the cannabis industry. That'll be all for my section. I'll move on to my next colleague. Thank you.